Woke up at 2:47 in the morning. He did not wake up slowly. His eyes opened fast. His body became tight. Something was wrong. He lay in his bed in the darkness and listened. The colony settlement of 442B was quiet around him. Very quiet. Too quiet. The normal sounds of the evening were gone. No wind machines, no water pumps, no distant voices from the night shift workers. Then he heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. It was not a soft knock. It was not uncertain. The knock was steady and hard on his metal door. Someone wanted him to hear it. Did not call the security office. He did not check the door camera first. He did something that confused him even as he did it. He got up from his bed, pulled on his shirt, and walked to the door. His dead wife, Carol, used to say was foolish sometimes. She would say he made decisions with his heart instead of his head. Carol had died 5 years ago, had lived alone since then in this small house on the edge of the colony. He did not have many friends. He did not want many friends, but he still heard her voice sometimes. He heard it now. You are foolish. Maybe he was. He opened the door. The creature in front of him was nothing like he'd ever seen before. It was tall, very tall, nearly 3 meters. It had scales that looked like copper that had been rubbed until it shined. The scales covered everything. The creature had a head shaped different from any human head. It had eyes that glowed like weak amber light. It had teeth that were long and sharp. It had hands with 4 fingers and 1 thumb, and each finger ended in a claw. It was a dragon, a real dragon from the stories humans told their children. The dragon was hurt. One of its shoulders was burned black. Blood that looked like dark oil ran down one of its legs. Its breathing was hard, very hard, like it had been running for a long time. I need sanctuary, the dragon said. Its voice was deep like rocks falling into water. Its English was perfect. I need it now, will you give it to me? Did not move. He did not close the door. He did not call security. Come inside, said. The dragon came inside. It was too big for the house. Its head almost touched the ceiling. Its body took up most of the main room, closed the door behind it. I am, the dragon said. I was the ruler of the draconic dominion. 12 star systems answered to me. Now I have nothing. They hunt me because I am a threat. They hunt me because I am old. They hunt me because the young species want power and they know I will not give it to them. Went to the medical kit in his house. He took out bandages and medical spray. He came back to. Sit down, said. Tried to sit. His body was too large for furniture. The chair broke under his weight. He crouched instead, his massive body folded like he was trying to be smaller. Worked on the dragon's wounds. The burn was bad. The cut on the leg was worse. Used the medical spray to clean the wounds and the bandages to cover them. The dragon did not move. It did not make sounds of pain. It watched work. Why do you help me? Asked. You do not know me. I am wanted. There is a reward, many credits for my location or my capture. You could have called your authorities. They would have come and taken me. You would have become rich. Finish the bandage on leg. Because you asked, said. You came to my door and asked. You did not demand, you asked. Was quiet for a long time. I have ruled 12 star systems, the dragon said. I have made laws that millions of beings followed. I have decided who would live and who would die. I have commanded armies. I have built cities that will exist for thousands of years, but I have never asked anyone for anything. I have only commanded, only demanded, only told others what to do. Got water from his kitchen tap. He brought it to in a large bowl. The dragon drank it all, then it drank more. You came to the wrong door if you wanted someone to turn you in, said. Why, asked. Give me a real reason. Thought about Carol. He thought about how she had died of a sickness that could have been treated if they lived somewhere else. He thought about how humans sometimes gave up on each other too easily. He thought about how the colony settlement was supposed to be a place where people could start over, where the past did not matter as much as what you did now. Because I believe that everyone should have a chance, said. Even people who are wanted, even people who used to be powerful, even people who are dangerous. Everyone deserves to have someone believe they could be more than what their enemies say they are. Looked at for a long time. The dragon's amber eyes were bright in the darkness of the house. The coalition will send hunters, said. They will come here, they will find me, they will take me or kill me. If you keep me here, they will come for you too. You understand this? I understand, said. And still you will keep me. Yes, said. Had been born in a time when strength was the only law. He had lived in a time when a being showed mercy only when it wanted something in return. He had ruled through fear because fear was the only language that worked in the draconic dominion. He had never known a being who would risk everything for nothing. "Then I will accept your sanctuary," said. "Not because I am afraid. I have faced death many times. I accept it because you have shown me something I did not know existed. I want to understand it better before I die." Showed to the back room. It was the smallest room in the house, but it was the most hidden. There were no windows. The walls were thick. It would be hard to find anything inside that room without knowing where to look. Rest said, "Tomorrow will bring problems, tonight rest." Laid down on the floor. His body was too large for the room. His head stuck out into the main area, but he was hidden from view. That was what mattered. Went back to his bed. He did not sleep. He lay in the darkness and thought about what he had done. He thought about the hunters that would come. He thought about the colony authorities who would be angry. He thought about Carol and how she would have done the same thing. Outside, the twin moons of 442b moved across the black sky. Inside, a human and a dragon waited for the morning to come. The first day was the hardest. Woke up at 6:00 a.m. and did normal things. He made breakfast. He checked his work messages. He prepared to go to his job in the colony maintenance department. Everything had to seem normal. No one could know. Stayed in the back room. The dragon did not move. It did not make noise. It seemed to understand that survival meant invisibility. At work, heard the news on the colony broadcast system. A dangerous fugitive was loose somewhere in this sector of space. The draconic dominion had been destroyed. Its ruler was wanted for crimes against multiple species. Murder, oppression, violations of interstellar law. The coalition government had put a bounty on the Dragon King. 5 million credits, alive or dead. 5 million credits was more money than would make in 50 years of work. No one seemed to think was the type to hide a fugitive. No one looked at him different, was 53 years old. He was quiet. He kept to himself. He did his job and went home. He did not cause problems. He bought extra food at the grocery center. He got medical supplies. He thought no one noticed. He was wrong. Dr. Lisa Porter noticed. Lisa was a scientist who studied alien cultures and ancient history. She and had been friends for 3 years. Not close friends, but friends. They ate lunch together sometimes. They talked about books and old history. Lisa was smart. Lisa noticed things. She came to his house after he finished work, opened the door, and his heart became heavy. Lisa was the type of person who asked hard questions and would not accept lies. "You are buying a lot of food," Lisa said. "Too much for one person, and medical supplies, too many for personal use. What is happening?" Did not lie. He could not lie to Lisa, so he told her the truth. Lisa came inside. She saw in the back room. She saw the dragon. She became very quiet. "You are hiding him," Lisa said. It was not a question. "Yes," said. "This is illegal," Lisa said. "This could cost you everything: prison, loss of home, loss of citizenship." "I know," said. Lisa sat down. She looked at her. "Hello," said. "Will you turn me over to the authorities?" "I do not know," Lisa said. "Let me ask you something. Is everything they say true? Are you really a murderer, a tyrant?" Did not answer fast. The dragon took a long time thinking. "I am a tyrant," said finally. "This is true. I ruled with force. I demanded obedience. Many people feared me, but murderer, genocidal, this is not the same truth. The coalition paints me as a monster because it is easier to kill a monster. A tyrant is a complex thing. A monster is simple. They chose simple." Lisa was a scientist. She understood truth. She understood that truth was often more complicated than people wanted it to be. "I will not turn you in," Lisa said. "But you cannot stay here long. The hunters will come soon. They are already searching." For 3 days, stayed hidden. Lisa brought food. She brought medicines. She helped create a hiding place. They put a false wall in the back room. Behind the wall was a space that would hold the dragon if anyone searched the house. On the 4th day, the security patrol came. They came in a vehicle with sirens. They had guns. They had scanners. They came to many houses on street. They were looking for the fugitive. Saw them coming. He signaled to Lisa. Lisa went to, and they moved the dragon into the space behind the false wall. The fit was tight, very tight. Had to fold his body in ways that made worry the dragon would break. The patrol came to the door, opened it, and invited them inside. "We are searching all houses in this district," the patrol leader said. A woman, strong face, serious eyes. "Have you seen any unusual creatures, any signs of an intruder?" "No," said, "I have seen nothing unusual." They searched the house. They checked every room. They used scanners that showed heat and life signs. The scanner made a sound near the back room but did not alarm. A rat in the walls somewhere maybe, nothing important. They left. When they were gone and Lisa let out, the dragon was having trouble breathing. The space was too small, too tight. "They will come back," Lisa said. "More hunters will come. This house is not safe anymore." "Where can he go?" asked. "I know a place," Lisa said. "An old tunnel system under the colony, maintenance tunnels. No one uses them much. We can hide him there." That night they moved through the darkness. Lisa led the way, stayed close. The dragon came behind them, moving silent and fast. The tunnels were old. They were made when the colony was first built. Pipes ran along the walls. Water dripped from broken sections. Rats scattered when they heard the dragon coming. Lisa found a place where 3 tunnels met. There was a large space. It was dry. It was hidden. It would have to be enough. "I will bring food," Lisa said. "We'll bring medical supplies. We will keep you alive." "Why do you help me?" asked Lisa. "You do not know me." "Because believed in you," Lisa said. "And because I think there is more to the truth than what they are telling us. I want to know what the truth really is." Understood then that humans had a strange power. Humans could believe in something they could not see. Humans could trust the judgment of other humans even when it made no sense. Humans could look at their enemy and decide to help. It was a power that would change everything. And Lisa left in the tunnels. They came back every night with supplies. They said nothing to anyone. The dragon remained hidden in the darkness, waiting for a future that no one could see yet. The hunters came 10 days later. They came with weapons. They came with authority. They came with a message from the coalition government. The settlement had to cooperate or face consequences. Trade agreements would be canceled. Military protection would be removed. The colony would be cut off from the rest of civilization. Commander Vex was the leader of the hunters. Vex was not human. Vex was a species that had evolved on a high-gravity planet, were short and very strong. Vex had a body made of muscle and bone that could survive impacts that would kill most creatures. Vex had a mind that worked like a military computer, cold, logical, efficient. Vex set up headquarters at the colony administration building. Vex brought 50 armed soldiers. Vex announced that house-to-house searches would begin immediately. The colony government tried to object. Vex did not care. Vex said the fugitive was a threat to all known space. Vex said harboring the fugitive was a crime against the coalition. Vex said anyone who tried to protect would be arrested. The searches began the next morning. Watched from his house as soldiers moved down his street. They went into every house. They came out with confiscated items. They took communication devices. They took anything they thought could be used to help the fugitive. When they came to his house, he opened the door before they knocked. The soldiers searched everything. They checked the back room. They used scanners. They looked under beds. They looked in cabinets. They found nothing because there was nothing to find, was in the tunnels, was safe. But others were not safe. Other people in the colony started to disappear. They were taken for questioning. They were held by Vex's soldiers. They were not allowed to contact anyone. Vex was searching for information. Vex was searching for anyone who might know anything about the Dragon King. James Cooper was a former soldier who worked in colony defense. Vex took him. James had helped Lisa and once. He had not asked questions. He had just helped. Now he was gone. Lynch was an engineer. She had helped them hide supplies. Now she was detained. Martinez was a supply worker. He had altered records to hide the extra food purchases. Now soldiers were questioning him. Grace Turner was a communications technician. She had helped them by changing data logs. Now she was locked in a detention cell. The colony was becoming a place of fear. People became afraid to help each other. People became afraid to talk to each other. Vex wanted the dragon. Vex was willing to destroy the entire colony to get what he wanted. Went to see Lisa. They met in a place where no one would notice them, a botanical garden at the edge of the settlement. "They are destroying everything," Lisa said. "They are torturing people. James will not break, but how long can anyone hold against that?" "I have to turn myself in," said. "I have to tell them I am harboring. I can tell them he forced me. I can say I had no choice." They will not believe you, Lisa said. And it will not help. They will use the information to destroy you and find. Then what do we do? Asked. We make them understand that they cannot do this, Lisa said. We make them understand that this colony has laws, that the hunters cannot just take over our settlement. They have guns, said. They have soldiers, we have nothing. We have numbers, Lisa said. We have truth, we have justice, these are not nothing. Lisa began talking to people, carefully, quietly. She told them that the hunters were breaking the colony's laws. She told them that the draconic dominion was more complicated than what the broadcast said. Other people began to listen. A doctor named Vincent Hayes, a teacher named Moore, a construction worker named Cross, a nurse named Nelson. Slowly, the colony population began to understand. Vex became angry. Vex could not find the dragon. Vex could not find the people who were hiding the dragon. Vex decided to increase pressure. Vex announced that if the dragon was not found within 5 days, the entire colony would face punishment. Mandatory military occupation. All residents would be questioned. Food would be restricted. Power would be reduced. The message was clear. Surrender the dragon or everyone suffers. The colony council called an emergency meeting. They had to decide. They could try to find and hand him over. That would satisfy Vex. That would stop the threats. That would return things to normal. Or they could refuse. Stood up in that meeting was not someone who usually talked in public. He was quiet. He was unknown, but he stood up and told them the truth. I am harboring, said. I am helping him because what is being done to him is not justice. It is revenge. The hunter called Vex wants to use force to take a being from our colony. We have laws against this. We have rules that say everyone deserves legal process. We should follow our own laws. The council was shocked. Soldiers moved to arrest. But before they could reach him, other people stood up. Lisa stood up. James Cooper, released from detention because his interrogators had found nothing, stood up. Lynch stood up. Martinez stood up. Grace Turner stood up. Vincent Hayes, Moore, Cross, Nelson, and dozens of others stood up. The entire colony was standing. They were saying no. They were saying that their laws mattered. They were saying that compassion was not a crime. They were saying that Vex and the hunters could not make them into something they did not want to be. Vex came to the colony council building with soldiers. Vex saw the standing crowd. Vex saw that the colony had become a single force. Vex had guns, but guns could not shoot everyone at once. Guns could not kill a whole population. Vex had authority, but authority meant nothing when everyone refused to obey. For the first time, Commander Vex understood that force was not enough. The hunters had come to take a fugitive. They had found something else. They had found something they could not destroy with weapons. They had found human will. Vex did not expect resistance. Vex had conquered 17 colonies. Vex had seen populations surrender when faced with military force. But this was different. The colony settlement had united. The people would not break. The council would not give the dragon. The authorities would not cooperate. Vex had authority from the coalition government, but the colony had something stronger. The colony had decided together. Vex chose a different strategy. Vex announced that if surrendered voluntarily, the colony would not face punishment. The dragon would be taken for trial. The people would be left alone. Went to the tunnels to tell about this offer. It is a trick, Lisa said. They were together in the tunnels for the first time since had hidden there. Vex will take you and find a way to execute you. The trial is a performance. You will not survive it. Was quiet. The dragon was very quiet for a long time. I understand, said. I have done the same thing many times. I have made promises I did not keep. I have used law as a tool to destroy my enemies. I am not innocent of these things. Then why would you surrender? Asked. Because, said, I have brought danger to innocent people. For the first time in my existence, I have seen what it means when ordinary beings protect someone they do not know. I have seen humans choose hardship for a stranger. I will not let this kindness be destroyed by my presence. No, said, there is another way. Left the tunnels and went back to the council building. He stood in front of Vex. Will not surrender to you, said. He will stay in this colony. If you want him, you will have to take him through legal process. You will have to follow our laws. You will have to prove your case in front of our courts. Vex made a sound that was like laughter, but had no humor in it. You are threatening me? Vex asked. You do not have the power to threaten me. No, said. I am not threatening, I am stating law. This colony has a legal system, it has courts. It has judges who are independent. If you want something from this colony, you will follow our process. The colony council looked at each other. They were afraid, but they had made their decision. They would support what was saying. The human is correct, the colony administrator said. Our law is clear. Extradition requires legal process. You have no legal authority here, Commander Vex. If you want this being, you will follow our courts. Vex had soldiers, Vex had weapons, but Vex understood something fundamental about law and force. Force could create compliance through fear, but force could not create legitimacy, and without legitimacy, power was temporary. Eventually, someone would resist. Eventually, force would fail. Vex agreed to the legal process. It was a gamble, but Vex believed the evidence against was overwhelming. Vex believed the courts would rule in favor of extradition. Vex was wrong. The trial lasted 5 days. Lawyers were appointed for, evidence was presented, witnesses. The coalition prosecutors brought records showing authoritarian rule. They brought testimony from beings who had suffered under his government. But the defense lawyers brought different evidence. They brought records that showed the coalition government had destroyed or altered documents. They brought testimony from historians about the complexity of reign. They showed that while the Dragon King was oppressive, he was not the genocidal monster the coalition claimed. One witness was a scholar named Dr. Henry. Doctor had studied the Draconic Dominion for 20 years. Doctor explained that had prevented 3 major wars during his rule. Had maintained stability through authoritarian control, yes, but under his rule, trade had flourished. Technology had advanced. Millions of beings had lived in security even if they had not lived in freedom. Was a tyrant? The defense lawyer asked. Yes, Doctor said. He was an absolute tyrant. He made all decisions. He allowed no dissent. He punished rebellion harshly. Was he a genocidal murderer? The defense lawyer asked. No, Doctor said. The evidence shows he never executed masses of people. He imprisoned people. He exiled people. He controlled people. But genocide requires intent to destroy a people. That is not what occurred. The coalition government has exaggerated the facts for political reasons. The judges listened. The judges considered. The judges ruled. The court found that while had been an authoritarian ruler who committed crimes against freedom, he was not a war criminal. He was not a genocidal murderer. The crimes he committed were political crimes. Political crimes could not be the basis for extradition from a neutral colony. Would be allowed to remain on 442B. Vex left the colony with his soldiers. Vex was angry, but Vex could do nothing. The colony had used law to defeat the hunters. The dragon had defeated force through the same mechanism that Vex had used to try to capture him. Law. For the first time in his long existence, understood what it meant to be protected by something other than military power. He understood what it meant when a population decided together that one individual had value. He understood what it meant to be defended not because of his usefulness or his threat, but because of principle. After the trial went to visit, the dragon could now move freely in the colony. He could walk in the streets. He could meet people. He was still being watched by colony authorities, but he was alive. I do not understand, said. In all my existence, I have never seen anything like this. Your people believed in me when they had no reason to. They protected me when it was dangerous. They risked everything for someone they did not know. That is what humans do, said. We believe in people, we protect each other, not because it makes sense, not because it is profitable. We do it because it is right. Looked at, the dragon's amber eyes were bright. I was once the most powerful being in 12 star systems, said. I commanded armies, I made decisions about life and death. I believed that this was what made me important. But I was wrong. I see now that importance comes from different places. It comes from the people who believe in you. It comes from being part of something larger than yourself. It comes from being protected even when protection costs more than you are worth. The dragon and the human stood together. Around them, the colony continued. People had made a choice. They had chosen principle over profit. They had chosen law over force. They had chosen to protect someone marked for death. It had cost them fear and risk and hardship, but what they had gained was something that no amount of wealth could buy. They had gained the knowledge that they lived in a place where law mattered, where principle mattered, where one person opening a door could change everything, stayed on 442B. The colony gave him legal status as a resident. He was required to check in with authorities every week. He was not allowed to leave the planet, but he was alive. He was free from the hunters. The dragon was confused at first. He had been running for so long that he did not know how to stop. He did not know how to exist without fighting for survival. But slowly he learned. He learned because taught him. Lisa taught him. The people of the colony taught him. Began working with the colony engineers. The dragon had knowledge of advanced technology. He had designed systems for his starships. He had created defenses that had kept his dominion safe for centuries. This knowledge became useful. The colony began to improve its power generation systems. The colony began to build better defensive platforms. Was not working because the colony forced him to work. He was not being used. He was being valued for what he could contribute. This was a new experience. For the first time in his existence, worked not because he had to dominate or control, but because he wanted to help. Other people began to understand the dragon better. Vincent Hayes brought his family to meet. The dragon was gentle with the children. He told them stories about his star systems. He showed them designs of buildings and ships. The children were not afraid. The children understood that was not a monster. Teachers like Moore began to use as a resource. She brought her students to listen to him talk about history and science and culture. Learned how to teach. He learned how to make complex ideas simple. He learned how to help young beings understand that the universe was larger and more complicated than their governments told them. One day, a year after arrived at the colony, another ship came. This ship was different from Vex's military vessel. This ship was a diplomatic transport. It carried representatives from multiple worlds. They came to visit the colony. They came because news had spread about what happened here. The story of the Dragon King who was protected by humans. The story of a colony that chose law over force. The story of a population that defended a stranger. The representatives wanted to meet. They wanted to understand his version of events. They wanted to hear about his rule from his own mouth. Told them the truth. He said he had been an authoritarian ruler. He said he had suppressed freedom. He said he had made people afraid. But he also said that what the coalition claimed was exaggerated. He said that while he had been harsh, he had not been a genocidal murderer. The representatives listened. They took information back to their governments. They began to investigate the coalition's claims more carefully. They began to ask hard questions. Slowly, his reputation changed. Not all the way. There were still many beings who believed he was evil, but some beings began to understand that the truth was more complicated. Some governments began to distance themselves from the coalition's vendetta against the Dragon King. 3 years after arrived, a representative from the Galactic Council came to speak with him. "We have reviewed the case against you," the representative said. "We have concluded that while you committed crimes against freedom, you do not meet the legal definition of a war criminal. The coalition government used evidence to support their position. We are formally declaring that your exile is ended. You are no longer a wanted being." Could have returned to what remained of his dominion. Some worlds still existed that remembered him. They would have accepted him as their ruler again. He could have rebuilt his power. He could have sought revenge against those who had overthrown him. He chose not to. "I will remain here," said, "in this colony, with Enlisa and the people who showed me what justice means." Years passed. 442b changed. The colony became known as a sanctuary world. Other fugitives came seeking protection. Each case was handled with the same careful legal process. Some fugitives were returned to face justice. Some were allowed to stay, but all were treated with fairness. The colony became a place that others looked at and wanted to understand. How could a small human settlement have enough strength to refuse the coalition hunters? How could beings protect a stranger? How could law overcome force? The answer was simple. Humans had made a decision. They had decided that principle was worth more than profit. They had decided that justice was worth defending. They had decided that one individual was worth protecting even when protection was hard. And became close friends. They spent long hours together talking about leadership and power and what it meant to be important. Learned that had been a military officer long ago. Had left the military because he disagreed with how power was used. Had come to the colony to live a quiet life because he believed that peace was more valuable than control. "I spent my entire existence believing that power came from force," said one day. They were standing on an observation platform looking out at the colony lights. I now understand that real power comes from being part of something. It comes from being trusted. It comes from mattering to others not because you can hurt them or control them, but because you care about them. Smiled, that is what Carol used to tell me, before she died. She said the most powerful thing a being can do is choose mercy when they have the power to be cruel. She said that took more courage than any military decision ever could. Looked at the lights spreading across the settlement. Thousands of beings lived here. They had their own stories, their own struggles, their own reasons for being in this place, and they had chosen to protect him. Your wife was wise, said. She was, said. And you have honored her wisdom by opening your door that night, said. You could have turned me away. You could have called security. You could have collected the reward. Instead, you chose to believe that I might be more than my designation as enemy. I could not live in a world where that choice was not made, said. The two beings stood together in the darkness. A human and a dragon, former enemies of different species, now friends bound by something stronger than species or background or history. Below them, the colony continued. People lived their lives, people worked, people loved each other, people raised children, people built things that would last. They had learned that when you protected those who asked for help, when you believed in the possibility of redemption, when you chose principle over profit, something changed. The universe became a place where justice mattered, where law mattered, where compassion was not weakness but the strongest force that existed. 442b had started as a colony on the edge of space, a place where humans came to start over. It had become something more. It had become a symbol, a proof that even against the power of the coalition hunters, even against overwhelming force, even against pressure that could break most populations, there was something that could not be defeated. There was the human decision to do what was right.